This is the case of Elisabeth Volkenrath, the unforgiving female Nazi guard. In the bleak history of Nazi Germany, some names strike fear through sheer infamy, and others for the chilling ordinariness of their cruelty. Elisabeth Volkenrath, born on September 5, 1919, is one such figure. A former hairdresser and factory worker turned high-ranking SS overseer. Her story is a haunting reminder that systemic evil often depends on the willing participation of everyday individuals. Was born Elisabeth Mühlau in Schönau an der Katzbach, a small town in Silesia, which is now modern-day Poland. She was the sixth child in a working-class family. Her father was a forest worker. By all appearances, her early life was unremarkable, marked by humble beginnings and working-class struggles. She left school at 14 and took on a string of menial jobs: nanny, kitchen help, hairdresser. In 1939, as Germany ramped up for war, she was conscripted into a munitions factory. It was here, surrounded by Nazi ideology and war fervor, that she reportedly volunteered to join the SS Staffelge, the female auxiliary of the SS. In October 1941, she began training as an Aufseherin, which is a female guard, at the Ravensbrück concentration camp, a facility primarily for women, under the supervision of infamous SS overseer Dorothea Binz, known for her ruthlessness. Volkenrath's trajectory from unskilled labor to a central figure in the Nazi concentration camp system was swift and deliberate. In March 1942, Volkenrath was transferred to Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest of the Nazi extermination camps. There, she served in various supervisory roles, initially overseeing work detail and the mail office, before advancing to a more direct role in prisoner control and logistics. As Auschwitz expanded into a killing center, she was increasingly involved in its core machinery of death. Survivor testimonies and court records later confirmed that Volkenrath took part in selections for the gas chambers, where prisoners were sorted, many sent to immediate death. She also managed routine executions and enforced brutal labor regimens. Eyewitness accounts describe her as authoritative and unforgiving, wielding immense power over female prisoners. Her name was later mentioned in Three Sisters by Heather Morris, based on the real-life testimony of Holocaust survivor Sibylle Mettler, who remembered Volkenrath's brutality. This officer has as much blood on her hands as any in Birkenau or Auschwitz. In November 1944, she was promoted to Oberofficerin, the highest rank available to female guards. In this role, she had full authority over all female prisoners across the Auschwitz camp system. But as the war turned against the Nazis, Volkenrath's position became even more precarious and consequential. In February 1945, she was transferred to Bergen-Belsen, a camp already overwhelmed with disease, starvation, and despair. There, Volk continued her harsh oversight. She reportedly forced prisoners into senseless and brutal labor, including carrying heavy stones through the snow. Even as Germany teetered on collapse, Volkenrath remained loyal to the Reich. However, she reportedly told a fellow guard toward the end, "Germany has lost the war, and we should all be hanged." Whether that was remorse, resignation, or self-pity remains uncertain. In April 1945, British troops liberated Bergen-Belsen. What they found horrified the world. Thousands of unburied corpses, skeletal survivors, and the utter collapse of humanity. Volkenrath, still in uniform, was arrested on site along with other SS personnel. She was one of 45 defendants at the Belsen trial, a British military tribunal held in Lüneburg. Her defense centered on denial and deflection. She claimed she had no authority over selections and only carried out routine duties. But the prosecution had survivor testimonies and records to prove otherwise. The court found her guilty of war crimes. She was sentenced to death by hanging. On December 13, 1945, at 9:34 a.m., she was executed at Hamelin Prison by the British hangman Albert Pierrepoint, one of the first women to be executed for war crimes under Allied authority. Elisabeth Volkenrath's story is not one of a high-ranking Nazi ideologue. She wasn't part of Hitler's inner circle or a mastermind of genocide. Her power came not from grand ideology, but from her compliance, ambition, and acceptance of cruelty as routine that makes her legacy even more unsettling. Female perpetrators of the Holocaust, like Volkenrath, challenged the common narrative that women were passive bystanders, Many were active, willing participants in torture, selection, and mass murder. Her trajectory illustrates how ordinary people can become instruments of extraordinary evil through choice, convenience, and ideology. Her trial and execution served as a warning that post-war justice would not overlook those who enabled genocide from the background. Elisabeth Volkenrath is buried in Stadtfriedhof, Amwell in Hamelin, Germany, an unremarkable grave for a woman who contributed to one of the darkest chapters of the 20th century. Her story is a reminder that evil is not always monstrous in appearance or origin. Sometimes it looks like a quiet factory worker turned guard. Sometimes it's wrapped in discipline, authority, and ambition. And sometimes it wears a woman's uniform. Thanks for watching.